What up, folks? Jiu-Jitsu here, and today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Dave Grossman. I pissed him off in open mat. Just kidding. I've worked with him a lot. I have a lot of questions. He's a talented musician, a talented jiu-jitsu practitioner and instructor. And thanks for being on today.
Oh, I appreciate it, man. Thanks for asking me to do this. I've been looking forward to it.
Oh, likewise. All right. A lot of questions. You've heard some of these. Yeah. I repeat some of them with, various instructors because I always get something new.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the beginning.
Yeah.
What got you into jiu-jitsu, and let's just kind of...
So I think it's a kind of a little bit of a familiar story for lots of people, but it was MMA.
Okay.
So UFC and Pride, for those of you that are old enough and have been around long enough to remember MMA organization.
Papa Jitsu would remember. You would know.
Yeah, from Japan called Pride. But I was watching, and I'd done some Kempo karate when I was growing up.
Okay.
But I was watching the Pride stuff and the UFC stuff, and there was this guy, Kazushi Sakuraba.
Yes.
And he was called the Gracie Hunter, and he would fight all these Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu guys and Gracie family members. And I was like, well, I don't really understand what's different between what he's doing versus these Jiu-Jitsu guys, these Gracie guys. And that started leading me into doing some research. At the time, I was still touring some with my band, so I would sometimes be in rough neighborhoods. So it was interest in MMA, a little bit of hey, what's the best martial art for somebody who's undersized?
Right.
Jiu-Jitsu kept coming up when I was doing research. And I just eventually was I'm just going to give it a try. I gave it a brief try. I actually had a bad experience.
Whatever you'd like to share.
I don't want to share too much, but I just had a bad experience.
Okay, that's fair.
The gym had a ringworm outbreak, and I didn't have health insurance, and I was I think I'm good.
Yeah.
So then I didn't start then, but I did a few classes.
Okay.
And then, a couple years later, I came back, and that was 2011, and then I I have never stopped training since then. So.
Okay, that's awesome. That leads into my next question. How long have you been training? So since 2011. Okay.
Yeah. So it'll be 15 years in August. This upcoming year, 2020.
Good for you. Now, next question. I love asking this one. Obviously, you're a black belt.
Yeah.
Did you have a favorite belt or period in training? Because the belt's kind of a little too specific, but was there a favorite, a honeymoon period in your training that you prefer?
I'll say this. I do think now that the belts are a little overrated, but I will say that in my personal journey, I thought purple belt was the most fun. Personally.
Good choice.
So, white belt, you just don't know anything, right?
Right.
So, and that's also the honeymoon phase. So everything feels fresh and exciting, but then it's there's something to be said about that, but you're just you're not good. No offense to the white belts out there.
No, it wasn't that long ago for me. I still feel like a white belt, so there you go.
I feel like a white belt in lots of things too, involving jiu-jitsu, but it's... So white belt, while it has lots of these cool, fun things, it's not the most fun belt just because you're not good.
Right.
Blue belt is a little bit fun, but the issue is there's a reason why they have the saying the blue belt blues, and blue belt's the belt that lots of people quit. Right?
Yeah, we can come back to that because I wanted to ask you about, because people say it is a thing, it's not a thing. I don't know.
It is a thing, in my opinion, but it's not about the blue belt, but we can come back to that.
Okay, yeah, I'll come back to that.
So I think purple belt is the most fun because at that point, if you made it usually to that, you've made it past the hump of being hey, I'm not going to be quitting.
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, so if you make it to purple belt, you're probably not quitting. You probably have broken through the plateaus that would make you stop training.
Yeah.
And you're probably good enough at some aspects of jiu-jitsu where you can give anybody a hard time if you get to your positions.
True.
It's you have things that you're already probably doing at a high level, and it could be anything, right? It could be as simple as you're really good at regarding, right?
Oh yeah.
But you have something, right? There might be something offensive. You're really good guard passing. You have really good De La Riva guard, whatever it is, but you usually have something then that is really good.
Right.
And so I think that purple belt's the most fun out of all the belts. That's my opinion.
Cool. I'm at purple. Obviously, I wear a purple belt. verdict is still out. But yeah, I think I'm having the most fun at purple belt.
Yeah,
because blue, when I got to blue belt, I was like, yeah, blue belt, I'm one of the boys. But then I was like, oh, I want to be a purple belt. Literally the next day. Yeah. Another question that ties into the belt thing.
Yeah.
Was there ever a point in your belts or in your progression anywhere in the training where you felt like maybe this belt was too soon? Because for me, let me say this first, and then if you can answer the question. I was like, I want my purple belt. I went on this tear, blah, blah, blah. And then I got it, and I promise you, I came to class on Saturday. I got it on a Saturday, and then I came to class on Sunday. My belt came off, and I didn't wear it the rest of the day. Because there was something about, I was just like, I don't know, man. There's a lot of scary people here. Is it going to be different? Like, is it going to be chill? And they're like, oh, you earned that belt. Or they're going to be like, now you're really going to pay. Like, I was all in my head about that. So in your experience, was there a place in your training where you were like, maybe this belt isn't, maybe I haven't grown into it yet?
Yeah, I mean, actually, honestly, strangely enough, brown and black belt are the two belts. But the thing is that, again, this is where I kind of am at with it, and I think that some of this is my own personal feelings about things, obviously.
Right.
But like, I think that as I started going through brown and black belt, I think maybe my ideas of where my own jiu-jitsu are or was and was a little bit more realistic and healthy. I think that maybe I was a little delusional. Like, I mean, obviously I want to be as good of a jiu-jitsu practitioner as I personally can be.
Right.
But I think I maybe was a little naive at how good I thought I could be.
Right.
And how much a belt equates to, like, hey, if you're wearing this belt, you're supposed to be able to do this, that, and the other thing.
Right.
And yeah, I mean, man, there are blue belts that are walking around right now that are training at probably like a top competition school that will give most people that train jiu-jitsu, regardless of belts, a hard time.
Yeah.
So, like, I think that some of it is like my own expectations of what I thought a brown and a black belt is supposed to feel like and be able to do. But then it's also like sort of coming to the conclusion that maybe the belts don't really matter. Like,
interesting. Okay.
Well, there's this interesting thing that jiu-jitsu has that is weird in that it has this belt structure like a traditional martial art, but it wants to go against being a traditional martial art. So like in wrestling, there's no belts. You're either good enough or you're not, right? And you're either good enough on any given day or you're not. Same thing with Muay Thai, right?
Oh yeah, you just fight whoever's in the room, whether they're bigger or small.
Yeah, right. And like this is the thing is they're not going to hold back somebody in judo if they think they're good enough to be an Olympian. They're not going to hold them back and not give them their black belt, right? They're just going to they're just going to skip them ahead. They're going to be like, we need this person to win the Olympic gold medal.
Okay.
Right? Like I think even Taekwondo, because Taekwondo is an Olympic sport, right? Would probably do the same thing. They would fast track somebody to the black belt if they were good enough, right?
Right.
Yeah, so like it's just like at the end of the day, it's like you're either good enough or you're not. But some of this is like, what are we talking about? Because this is a context of competition.
Yeah, this gets a little subjective, and then that segues into competition.
Yeah,
the competition question. Because and this, I always ask this one. I love this. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier, but just so we can flesh this out, how much does competition matter in your opinion to someone's growth and development? Because I'll say this is my claim. I think everyone should do it once.
Yeah.
I think there's something for everyone. People have reasons for why they don't. When I started jiu-jitsu, I came to jiu-jitsu for competition from Aikido world. Back then, actually a year ago, I would have told you if you don't compete, then but that, it doesn't matter. But now where I'm at in training, like I'm more focused on me, and I'm not really worried about what everyone else is doing. And I can see the benefits. I've seen both sides, and I've grown a little bit. So I've seen people who don't compete that are really freaking good.
Yeah.
But they maybe train with people who compete a lot, or they just have a different focus in their practice, right?
Yeah.
So in your opinion, is there a difference? Does it depend on the person, or is it?
There definitely is, but like again, this is like some of this is going to be an individualized mindset.
Of course.
So if you ask me, even if somebody is a world beater in the gym, if you haven't won the big competitions, like it's kind of like to a certain extent doesn't matter. So like that's the first thing. Like those top tier competitions, we got to put those top tier competitors at a different level, right? And it's like when you've trained with, like you've had Valor on the show, for example, who's competed at a very, very, high level. Like you feel the difference. And even somebody that's like really good as a gym person, it's different. But like the thing is like Valor competing versus Valor probably in competition training versus Valor in a regular training session. Those are all different things, right? And like that's probably the case for most of these people. So like some of this is like, what's your goal? So those people should belong on their own tier.
Right.
Now for a hobbyist, it's just a different thing. So I do think that there's a lot of benefits for everybody competing. And again, you know this from your own experience. I know this from my experience. The improvements you get from competing, there is no way that there is any training situation that can replicate that.
No, it's different.
Yeah.
I mean, I will say from my experience at the Purple Belt, mile mark on the road, it's not the same. I've visited a bunch of places. I have more to learn. Maybe I haven't found it, but I've spoken to, you know, very talented instructors like yourself, and they say it's not the same.
It's not, yeah.
It's not. Like,
and well, maybe this has happened to you. I know this happened to me when I was competing. You maybe thought you were bad at a move, and then you hit it in competition, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, wait, now I'm actually good at this move, and I should have been doing this move all the time, but I had this idea in my head this wasn't a thing that I did or I wasn't good at.
Right.
And then you hit it in competition, you're like, oh, well, I was wrong because I just hit this against somebody who wanted this to fail 100%, and I wanted to succeed 100%, and it happened. And then you also have things that you think you're good at in the gym, and then when you deal with it in a competition speed, competition intensity, you're like, oh wait, I wasn't good at this thing.
That's most of my jiu-jitsu.
But that's the thing. That's the case for lots of people. They don't know until they compete.
Okay.
And like again, it's just going to put you on a different track. But like this is the thing: the bulk of people training, this is a hobby. So if you create environments where you aren't allowing people to have fun within their hobby, they quit. And like this is like a huge issue, I think, because like you have people that only train in gyms, and then they'll be like, hey, I'm winning a lot against blah, 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 blah. And they're like, no, wins and losses only happen in competition.
Yeah.
There's no such thing as a win or a loss in training. You never know what the other person is working on, what they're doing. Like, they aren't prepared the same. Like, you're going to eat differently if you get ready for competition. You're going to drink differently.
Yeah, you're in a different
You're going to sleep differently.
For a while.
Like, what happens in a gym training session is essentially irrelevant. But, like, that should be, like, a healthy, fun environment.
Right.
If that's all you're coming for, like, maybe you're coming just to get fitness. Maybe you're just coming because you like the social aspect.
I agree. There's something
like,
for everyone, yeah.
Okay, cool. Then, like, don't worry about it. But, like, yeah, I still think they would get benefits out of competing. But, like, yeah, like we have to understand that the competitors are their own thing, and there's like professional competitors.
Yeah, let's clarify something because a few of my friends were asking about this, and I wanted to get your take. How are we defining, or how would you define a hobbyist versus like a professional? Because for me, I think there's a few tiers, right?
Yeah.
A hobbyist is just someone who trains, it's their thing, whatever. No discredit to them. They come in, they enjoy it. It's fitness, it's a way of life, and maybe they're really freaking good. There's people who compete all the time. And then there's professional instructors who are getting paid.
Yeah.
And then there's people that compete at a high level and get paid to do that. They're sponsoring it something.
Yeah.
So where are you in that? They're all different.
Yeah.
Okay. So I think for me, we can maybe agree that like a hobbyist is someone who's, I'm paying my dues, I train, whether I compete or not. I'm just doing this for fun.
Yeah. Some of them will be absolutely incredible, like you said, but like, we don't know how, like this is the thing, it's like, so let's view other sports, right? Like,
okay, yeah, that's good.
I'm gonna mention NFL players, and maybe some people know who I'm talking about, maybe you guys won't, but it's easy enough to figure out who I'm talking about, right? So
Google.
You have guys like Tom Brady and Joe Montana who have won all these Super Bowls, and they're in the discussion for the greatest of all time. Well, that doesn't mean just because these other quarterbacks like a Phillip Rivers or a Dan Marino who never won Super Bowls are bad quarterbacks, because they're still really great quarterbacks. Right? But they just didn't win championships. So, and obviously these are team sports, so it's a little different.
That was the next thing I'm going to say. Like, it's how do you pick out because there's individual stats on the team, right? You can't dispute that.
But we can still make some obvious like analogies that make sense, right? So like, it's just it's obviously different. But like, okay, like you also will have guys that like they were terrible pros, right? But
I promise you those terrible pros are still better than like 99.9% of the people that ever played the quarterback position, right?
Okay.
These guys that have negative numbers or non-existent stats.
Right.
Like, because they're professionals. You have to be a certain level of skill and quality get to that.
Right.
So it's just a different thing. Then you have, obviously in football, college athletes. Well, the difference between a college person and a professional might just be somebody had a lucky break, right?
Okay.
It's no different in jiu-jitsu. So you might have somebody
Right.
that they just started too late. So they're very talented, but they started at 42 years old. Their window of being able to win a world championship against guys that are 27 years old it's gone.
And even in the upper divisions,
so
you got to survive.
To win against a woman who's 28 years old when you're 45 and you just started, you could still be really good, but it's just not the same.
Right.
Like, it's going to be hard to make up that difference. Is it possible? Well, yeah. Weird things happen, but it's unlikely.
No, that's true.
Okay, so then you have somebody who's just kind of a hobbyist who competes a lot. You're probably, again, still very good, but you're not professional level quality. Right. And again, it could be many of those. It could be you just started too late, right? And then, like, instructors are something different, right? Because your ultimate goal as an instructor is to make the people in the room good.
Right.
That's your main thing, just to make people in the room good. And that's what it should be. Maybe it's not for everybody, but that's what it should be. So that's its own thing.
Right.
And then a hobbyist, it's just a hobby. It's just a fun thing. It's no different than going rock climbing.
Or going to the gym or any
playing
activity,
guitar.
a spin class or something.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
see it that way.
That's what I say.
Some people, this is silly. Some people don't like that. That like, no, it's a specific. I'm like, if for you, if that's your, I always say this. I'm like a competition frisbee.
Yeah.
You may not like competition frisbee. So what? If you love competition frisbee, that's your activity. Then go for it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
It really doesn't matter.
Yeah.
You touched on some really cool things there. I want to come back to the blue belt blues thing really quick before I forget. All right. So for folks who don't know, what is the blue belt blues?
So the blue belt blues is this idea that you're essentially going to get frustrated during blue belt and quit jiu-jitsu, but it's real, in my opinion, not because of anything to do with the blue belt. It has to do with the way that humans work.
Okay.
So if we asked 100 random people, what have they committed to in their lives for more than 2 years? You're going to find that the answer is very few things. So the issue isn't that it's anything related to a belt. The issue is that people have a hard time committing to anything for more than 2 years. For most people, it'll be like an educational thing, a job, a relationship. It's like these few things. But like if you start talking about activities, hobbies, you're like, okay. Like, oh, well, I was into mountain biking for 2 years. Well, why did you stop? I just was over.
Well, or it gets expensive because some hobbies get really expensive.
Sometimes that's the case, right? But like, yeah, it's just that like people like, it's like, oh, you played guitar. Well, why did you stop playing guitar? I was just into it for this little window of time. Like, not everybody finds this hobby that they love, that they want to do for the rest of their lives. It's just, why would jiu-jitsu be different than any other hobby? So I don't think it has anything to do with the belt. It just has to do with that is around the time frame where most people quit the hobbies.
Now, another piece that I'd like to ask you about, the challenge, because for some people, blue belt is harder for them.
Yeah.
And for some people, blue belt's like, the confidence is there and people are like, oh my God, you're terrified. It's like, oh my God, I'm scared of this person, they're a blue belt. Because this is how I saw it. You're a white belt, you get your blue belt, the white belts want to come after you, but you should be able to take care of them. But then as a blue belt, you want to get purple belts, so you got to beat all the purple belts. But then the purple belt's like, nah, son, stay down there.
Yeah.
So then it just keeps going, right?
Yeah.
So like, or the other thing is, someone told me this, and I didn't experience this here. And I don't think I'm that good. I just think we have a nice gym. They're like, oh, when you get purple belt, you're going to have a target on your back. I'm like, well, who? Like, I compete. Like, I'm going and standing in the battlefield as far as that concerns, right?
Well,
is there something to that, do you think? I don't know.
So there's a few things to talk about with that. So, I mean, going with the target on your back thing, I mean, I think that maybe is true to a certain extent, but those people are probably people that don't compete. And if you did compete or were competing, even at just the hobbyist level, you're not going to really care that these people are gunning for you or coming after the target on the. You just don't care. Yeah. I think if you're somebody who's doing this as a hobby, but you're like thinking that as a hobby, there's wins and losses versus just having fun at your game. Yeah. Like, well, then maybe you're going to start to like view people as having targets on their back because you think that, hey, if I catch the purple belt as a blue belt, that means I'm a purple belt, but that's not how things work.
Yeah, I learned that though.
That's not how things work, right? Like, it just doesn't work that way, right? Like, but yeah, like, I mean, again, this all comes back to how having a healthy relationship with things. So it's like the frustration that you're talking about with blue belt, like, again, it just comes back to the fact that people find excuses roughly around a certain amount of time to quit hobbies.
Okay.
Right? And that's really what it's about. And it's like, again, you ask somebody, like, how long have you committed to a different hobby? And you're going to find that 2-3 years they start to quit. Like, if we've got into rock climbing, at some point you're faced with a decision, right? Like, do I want to go to a higher level? Or do I want to stay where I'm at and where I'm comfortable? And then probably if you're not feeling challenged, you probably start to go, well, I'm not challenged anymore. I'm over this. But you could challenge yourself.
Right.
And maybe if you challenge yourself, you keep yourself engaged. Like the thing that's, I think, for those of us like you and I, and you know the people that you have as guests on these shows that are obviously very committed to it, is that you love the fact and enjoy the fact that there's always a challenge and there's always skill level.
It does not end.
Yeah,
it's yeah.
Like my friend Dave Porter said to me once, he's like, there's black belts, and then there's black belts, and then there's black belts. like, and it's like, okay, like the challenge never ends, but again, the belt doesn't even matter. You're gonna run into just really tough blue belts, purple belts, like just guys that are freak athletes that it just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
These men and women, you're like, oh my God, she's just so talented as an athlete. She can do things that, like, I'm blown away by. Like, you guys here at this school used to have this woman training here, who I don't remember her name, but she was like literally the strongest person pound for pound I've ever met in my entire life.
Okay.
I was like, how is anybody this strong? Like, it doesn't make any sense. I was like, this isn't like logical. Like, you're gonna run into those people. But like, yeah, it's like, you embrace the challenges. It's not, even if you feel some fear about it, like, oh my God, like this is going to be a hard mountain to climb. There's like a level of excitement and joy out of that, right? And
yeah, some people find, I don't want to say comfort, but motivation, and when they face adversity.
Yeah.
And I think, I don't know if it's because I've done like Aikido for a long time and just blah, 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 and then came to Jiu-Jitsu. I think for me, what makes it easier to stay with Jiu-Jitsu is because there's a return on an investment. I'll elaborate.
Yeah.
In Aikido, it's drilling. You get to a certain rank, it's pay to play, blah, blah, blah. You can do demos, but it's like you never really know how good it is, how good a technique is, because you can't actually do it.
Yeah.
Even if you're not competing, I'd argue that we're competing anyway. Some people are, even in an open mat, because they're like, I gotta beat this guy. It's like, okay, so we have a friendly competition in this room at this time, whatever, with my friends. I know that if I can make this move work on this person, that maybe I'm getting better, my skills are increasing with that move. There's a return on the investment there. Not the belts per se, because they mean something, and you can argue that they don't in some category, but the return on the investment and embracing the kind of chaos and the adversity, like I know that it's going to be challenging, but I'm going to see improvement. Yeah. You know, I look at my notes, I look at videos, I'm like, I shouldn't have done that. Yeah. And I also look at instructors like yourself. Like, I think back to when I first started coming to open mat, and you guys would be like, oh, I'd be like, hey, can you rope me? You'd be like, maybe later. And now you're like, oh, hey, that guy's here. So I'm like, was there a pool? They're like, yeah, he's gonna quit. Like, but anyway, like interacting with people as I grow and seeing them, you know, kind of watch me expand in my game and just become more skilled. Like, I'm seeing everyone else around me improve, and I can see them embracing it and everybody being helpful. So that also, the community, there's more return there in that space. So yeah, it's tough, man. You know, I'm small. You're small.
I'm small.
Like, Ernest said this to me before, and he'll probably bring this up on the podcast. I have him on. I was like, do you roll with like big dudes? He's like, man, I don't roll with big people. I don't know anymore. And he's like, if there's some like dude who's like 200 something pounds, he's like, I'm not doing that. He's like, I'm not getting hurt on a Sunday for no reason. I'm like, I get it. That's a challenge. Some people will welcome that challenge. Me, depending upon the day, I may just go get something to drink and come back.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. I mean, again, like, there's what we do is inherently dangerous. Yes. So there's a certain point where you maybe have to be faced with some decisions of like, hey, I don't want to train with these people for whatever reason, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like the thing is like, well, this leads to a couple things. A, everybody should feel comfortable to decline training with anybody at any given moment
Yeah, let's talk about that.
with no need to give any explanation. Like, it drives me nuts when I see somebody pressuring somebody into training.
They don't like me. How come we don't?
Yeah, like you everybody should be allowed to decline training with anybody, and it's not an insult. If somebody declines training with me, I'm not like, oh, they think I'm a terrible person or this, that, or the other thing. Whatever the reason is, they don't have to give me an explanation. Like, maybe they aren't feeling good. Maybe it has nothing to do with me.
Or
right?
maybe my jiu-jitsu's not as good as I thought it was, so no one wants to play.
Maybe something happened where
so bad.
But like maybe I trained with them one time and I accidentally need them, and I didn't even realize I accidentally need them, and now they're uncomfortable, or they like right.
There could be, I've heard.
So there's so many
I've been on
different
both
factors,
sides of
but yeah, like people need to be comfortable to do that. But this is another thing that I think is interesting that isn't really fully about this, but this is looping back to something to do with this idea of like winning in training.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
Jiu-jitsu has multiple rule sets, right? Which is actually not a good thing, but that's a different conversation. So let's say you and I are training.
Okay.
You decide that you're training with points in mind. I'm training as if it's submission only. So I don't get submitted in the rounds, but I had 20 points scored on me, but I didn't get submitted. So in my head, I leave the mat going, that was a draw. You leave the mat because you were training with the points in mind going, I just destroyed this person. I just scored 20 points, right? Like if the conversation isn't being had beforehand, you can't even pretend that you won anything in a training session. So like again, it would take some schools obviously always train in their normal classes with like, hey, we're training with points. You know that we're talking about points. We're keeping track of points. Some schools are like kind of like, oh, we are unspoken doing submission only, but like if the conversation is not being had, how do you know that you won this training session? Right? So like, again, those conversations need to be had. Like, hey, I'm getting ready for a submission-only tournament. I want to do a round. They're 10-minute rounds. Can we do a 10-minute round where we replicate this? And I need you to come at me like you want to win.
Yes.
Like, it takes like a little bit of time to have those conversations. But these are the sort of differences, in my opinion, that make somebody really improve in a training room versus kind of like being a little more up and down with their progress, which there's always going to be some up and down because nothing happens in a straight line.
Right.
But you're not coming in prepared. You're not coming in with a plan, and you're not coming in with this idea of how you want to play the game.
Yeah, I think I was talking to someone about this actually yesterday, and I think that's individual because people, and some of this may go back to the hobbyist thing.
Yeah.
Where depending upon how I view my training and my partner views their training, to your point, that really determines the outcome of the role, because like I'm always working on something.
Yeah.
And someone may ask me, but sometimes I'm rolling with someone and we can look at each other like, I don't know what the hell you're doing and you don't know what the hell I'm doing. Like we're both doing totally different things. The conversation isn't had. Now, to your point, I've had roles where I'm like, hey, I'm competing, or the coach or Tony or somebody be like, hey, Sewell's doing a competition. He needs XYZ. Can you give him a competition role?
Yeah.
And they're like, well, what do you need me to do? I'm like, well, we're friends, but we're not really that friendly today, right? Like, I really need you to roll with me. Like, remember that time I pissed you off? Yeah. Channel that when we roll, right? But yeah, I think Will talked about this too when we did the podcast, like people making their own rules up when they roll. Yeah. Like they're like, oh, what did he say? Like it's like going to a chess club and moving your pawns backwards or something.
This is the biggest, again, so in my opinion, this is one of the biggest issues in the sport of jiu-jitsu, which is that there's too many rule sets. The rule sets bounce around and like don't make logical sense. And it's like everybody's just kind of doing their own thing. So then it makes things overly complicated. And it's like, we just need to come up with like, this is the universal rule set for gi, and this is the universal rule set for no gi, and this is how it's played, and that's that. And if you go and you train, it will, again, like as a hobbyist, you maybe don't need to care.
No, it doesn't matter.
If there was a universal rule set, everybody will get better, and I actually think that the safety will improve, right? like you're less likely to make a dangerous decision because you're like, this is the context of the sport. This is how the sport is done. This is what wins. This is what loses. This is what scores. This is what doesn't score, right?
No,
So
yeah,
it's clear.
there's something to that.
So like you aren't doing things that don't make logical sense, right? But yeah, like it's just so arbitrary. Like I said, like maybe you're rolling the whole time being like submission's the only thing that matters.
No, I've had
Submitting and not getting submitted. And I'm like, I'm just trying, if I catch a submission, great. But I'm also playing the game thinking about points, right? What if you're training for MMA? Right? Like a whole different thing, because now you're going to start doing decisions where like you might take a chance that you wouldn't take otherwise because you're like, hey, in the context of this other sport, I would lose. But I don't know whether you're training to get ready for MMA unless we have the conversation.
No, that's right. Yeah, and like, the room and the coach and all that.
Yeah. So like obviously it's clear if I'm going to an MMA gym and they're, but like you might come here and you're a guy who does MMA, but you find value in training jiu-jitsu in the gi. And you make some decisions like, wow, those are interesting decisions, but those decisions are because you're getting ready for MMA. So like just that little bit of time of having the conversation with somebody can make a huge difference in being like, hey, like, yeah, I'm getting ready for something. And you don't even honestly have to be getting ready for something.
True.
But you could just be like, hey, can we keep track of the points today?
Yeah.
And
Steve does that.
Yeah.
Sometimes he'll be like, I'm tracking points. Or him and Ernest will be like, how many points did you have? And I'm like, sometimes I have an answer. Yeah. And sometimes I'm just like, I'll be honest with you, I was just trying to survive. Let me talk about this too. For me, in that same category, let's say I'm rolling with you and you're like, today you're like, I'm doing points because I'm in points mode and IBJJF. I'm not thinking about points. I'm thinking what I need to do is make sure that I'm keeping track of surviving, because if I'm rolling with you, you're going to do whatever you want, right?
Yeah.
You're going to do your thing. It's really not going to matter. I'm just trying to survive. Yeah. So even if I am tracking points, I'm like, you know what? Forget the points. I'm going to get swept. I'm going to make some mistakes. I'm going to do actually a lot of weird stuff too to try to annoy you so you make mistakes. Like there's something to me playing that game. Now, obviously I have to learn because Will gets on me about this and it's cool. He's like, yeah, I know you like your guard, but like you're not really doing anything. And then he's like, you compete, right? And I'm like, yeah. He's like, so it might be good for you to actually.
Well, Will's a good person for holding you accountable in your training.
Glad
he does the same thing for me as well.
Because he's like, hey, if you just want to mess around, fine. He's like, but like, are you getting ready for something? I'm like, yeah. He's like, so you might want to keep track of. I'm like, okay, that's fair. Have a focus, have a plan in your training.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's a huge sort of thing. Again, it's like, it's all an individualized thing because, like, if you just want to come and get a workout and have some fun, then we have that conversation. I can make a decision like, hey, I'm getting ready for something.
Yeah.
I might not choose to roll with you, and this goes back to being able to decline rolling with any person for any reason, right? I can be like, hey, this isn't going to give me what I need to get better today, right? But like, like the small time of taking and having these conversations and being like, hey, this is what I'm training for, and this is what I need to do. As a side note, a really good training exercise, in my opinion, is doing first to score routes. So I think that's one of, like, in my opinion, one of the best, like, kind of like situational training rounds you can do. Like, hey, we're just doing first to score. So like, start standing,
take down guard pass,
or sweep, right? Like, and you could also obviously throw submissions in that as well, but like it like replicates like
that sense of urgency,
and the beginning part of the game, right?
I might try that because there's the. Oh, let me ask you about this, which is related. There's that part where people are like, go first. Like, you got to establish your grips and do the thing, like the whole playbook. Adding to that, where I am with my guard, or where I think I am with my guard, there's the whole thing of don't pull guard. Where are you with don't pull guard? I think I know the answer.
It's ridiculous. Like, so the whole thing that is supposed to make jiu-jitsu magical anyway is that if somebody has better stand-up than me or they're much larger than me, I can bypass the position by pulling guard.
Yeah.
It's also like if you want to watch wrestling and judo, watch wrestling and judo. Like, they're beautiful sports, beautiful arts. Just go enjoy them. They have the stand-up that you're seeking.
Right.
Like, let's just get to the jiu-jitsu, but also like it's a good tactic. It's a good strategy to win the game sometimes. So I forget who said this to me initially, but I know that it comes from Nick and Danny, who own Movement Arts, which is this idea that there's 3 boxes you're trying to check, which is your technique, your tactics, and your athletic abilities. Right. So like your tactics is your strategy.
Right.
So like if the best strategy is to pull guard, great. Like, you know what else is a really good strategy?
What?
Getting on people's backs, flanking somebody and getting behind them. Right. Like okay, well like. The guard can be a great pathway to make that happen, right? But it's also like, again, like if that's the best pathway and the easiest strategy to win the game, then I should do it. Like, and that's what everybody should do. If you think that the best strategy and pathway is to take somebody down, then take them down.
Right.
But like also like if you think the best strategy is to take them down, then shouldn't you be excited that they gave you the free takedown and you could start getting to your guard passing? They just gave you the free takedown. They said, you don't have to work for the takedown. Here it is for free.
No, there's something to that.
But like this is the thing too, is like, do you really think that those guys that are pulling guard at the highest level, they can't take down most people? They can.
No, there's a
they can.
strategy.
They're just using it as a strategy.
Right.
Like it's kind of like I pull guard. Feel free to pull guard, everybody. Like it's silly. It's a silly argument.
Oh, I know what I wanted to ask you. You're a musician.
Yeah.
A talented musician.
It's something like that.
How did your training in music and learning all of those instruments and things like that help with how you progressed in jiu-jitsu, or are they not similar?
Huge.
Okay.
So music is like jiu-jitsu in a lot of ways.
Okay.
And most of the ways is that it teaches you that you have to just continue to show up to get good at it.
Okay.
The second thing, I might have said A, so it really should be B. But like the next thing is that, so you start to realize very quickly there's always going to be people that are better than you. Mm-hmm. And as a result of that, you can't get deterred, right? You just have to accept that there's always going to be people that are better than you.
Okay.
And just continue to work through it, right? And just not make it a big deal.
Okay.
Kind of like understanding practice habits, which I might have already said.
Yep.
But like, I mean, it's just like, there's also like a weird thing if you're creating music, which is a little different than playing, where you get like into the flow state. And I think part of the reason why jiu-jitsu is so enjoyable is that jiu-jitsu gets you into the flow state. Mm-hmm. Like when it's done well. So like think about this. When you're sparring, if you start thinking about anything outside of the present moment, what happens?
I don't know.
It's
not good.
Yeah, you lose that little mini battle. Well,
yeah.
Same thing happens lots of times in the creative process. Like if you, or playing a show, like if you start thinking about like, hey, what's the change? How many times does this part repeat? Mm-hmm. Falls apart, and then you make a mistake. So it just teaches you to be really present. It teaches you good practice habits. Teaches you to like kind of be persistent with like being like, hey, I'm not going to be the best, but that doesn't mean I shouldn't be trying to be the best. I should still show up. I should still work hard. I always know there's going to be somebody better than me, whether it's writing or playing, but like just continue to push through. And like, it's more about making a better version of yourself than anything else.
Okay.
And also kind of like just being like, this brings me joy, so I should do it.
Right.
Like more than anything. Like,
okay.
Yeah, like it just brings you joy, so do it.
I love that. Okay. Instructor question.
Yeah.
When did you start teaching as the first question?
So as a blue belt, but just kids classes.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Just kids classes.
That's the standard track for. Another question. Follow-up question. How do you decide? Probably not. Yeah, I'll craft it that way. How do you decide what's important for your students to learn versus what's on the internet and whoever won in super ABC super thing, right? Because there's a hot, fun YouTube demo reel that everyone wants to learn. And then there's like, oh, my students need to learn this guard pass, right? So how do you... fun stuff? Everyone's showing me this YouTube video.
I think it's a balance of anything, right? So I think sometimes you need to read the room and be like, people today just maybe need something that's fun and silly, or maybe there's some vibe in the room where like people need to be challenged today. Or sometimes it's just like, hey, I've identified something based off competition or what I'm seeing in the room that people need to work on this thing, and we'll kind of go with that. For the most part, like also like I think when you have experience, it's easier to determine what's kind of like a fad that maybe will stick around for a little bit versus what has longevity. But like again, some of this stuff is also like opinions. Like
I think jiu-jitsu should be viewed like other sports where it's like, hey, there's more than one way to win a football game.
Right.
There's more than one way to win the game of jiu-jitsu.
Right.
So a coach needs to figure out whether they think that this is the way they think the game should be won or played, right? And then make the decision if they feel like that move should be added or not.
Awesome. All right, one more question because I know we're running out of time.
Yeah.
This is an instructor kind of thing. So you kind of talked about what you should be teaching. How do you gauge how your training and exploration goes versus what you're offering your students, right? Because isn't there a balance between the stuff you want to work on versus what you're offering to people?
Yeah. So
how do you do that?
A coach's job is for other people. So you really just have to figure out how to make your own time to worry about yourself.
Right.
And then if there's something that you want to work on for yourself that makes sense for the other people that are your students that you're coaching, then add that in. But it's very important that you understand it's their time, not your time.
Okay.
So you got to figure out your own way to find your own time. That's my opinion. But there's different strategies with coaching too, right? There's some people that go, I'm going to teach things that I don't do and give a little bit of knowledge. And there's the people that go, I only teach things that I know myself really well. Right? And then there's things in between, right? So it operates on a spectrum, obviously. So everybody kind of has to, again, figure out just how you want to play the game, how do you want to coach the game. There's not a right or a wrong, but there's what's right or wrong for you, right? You have guys like Greg Souders, who's essentially being let's just spar all the time with restrictions, which I think that there's something to be said about that to a certain extent, but you can't do that all the time, in my opinion.
Right.
So but I think that again, look at the NFL. They don't just play the game live all the time in practice.
No, they do a lot of drills. They have to learn.
They do situational things where they go live. If I'm a cornerback and they want me to do bump and run, we'll do bump and run drills and we'll go live.
Yeah, you have to
there's
know
also
those plays.
film study.
Yeah.
There's also drills where they're hey, you need to work on getting out because of your back pedal to running straight in a straight line. Is your stance right? So it's always these competitions, or I should say, you're competing with these ideas to make the proper athlete and the proper way to play the game as a coach. And everybody's going to have their own opinions, right? Some teams run the ball more than others. Some teams pass the ball. Some teams like spreading out 4 wide receivers. Some go 2 wide receivers, 2 tight ends, 1 running back, and they win, right? It's just an opinion of how you think the game is best played and best won.
Awesome. Well, thank you. I know we're up on time.
Yeah, thanks a lot.
It's a pleasure. Maybe we'll do this again. How do people find you? Can they listen to your music? Can they come and take a private lesson and do jiu-jitsu? Where do we? I'll put your socials up there.
The easiest thing is for music is one band's called Rosetta. That's the one I play bass in.
Yep.
The band I sing in is called New Miserable Experience. And I teach at a school called Malaki Flow in Narberth. So those are probably the easiest ways to find me.
Awesome.
Hey, thanks a lot.
You've heard it. Thanks again.
Thank you.
Coach. Please like and subscribe as always and tap in. Cool. You did good, man. You did good.